All right, good evening, everybody. Severe thunderstorm warning is out now until 7:15 for Johnson, Trutlin, and Wheeler counties, and really just a little bit of Lawrence County there as well. It goes until 7:15. Hope everybody's having a great night. Obviously, we just finished the 6 o'clock show, and this warning came out right at the end of the show. I mean, like with 5-10 seconds left. In order to get it on TV, so we pushed it over here. So the warning again until 7:15. Some gusty winds, maybe upwards of over 50 miles per hour in some of this, and the potential for some hail. Let's dig in and see how this looks. You can see some of the particulars there with the time. Let's go in and check on the hail. See if that is a factor. And there it was for just a brief moment. This looks like one that I would be really surprised if this warning stays going until 7:15. We did see maybe an inch diameter hail just south of Alamo for a little bit, but watch as I drag this forward. It came into Alamo as pea-size hail, going backwards, going back forward, and it's gone. So let's take a look at velocity. This is not going to show us much here. So there is some wind in there. Again, this is kind of out there away from the radar a pretty good bit. And don't really see anything that's screaming a whole lot of wind on it. But obviously the potential is in there for there to be a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that goes until 7:15. So the idea is this long polygon that eventually would make its way towards Soperton and then roll on up through maybe southern Johnson County if it's still severe. Either way, it could at least have somewhat of a punch, even if it's not severe. So again, it did have a hail core there for a little bit. While we're doing that, let me check on the hail here with, there is a little bit of hail in that one in southern Washington County. We can see there, that one's not severe, but if we go back, you can see that that hail core has just recently started kind of going up a little bit. Again, it's not big. It's not like the yellow spot we saw a minute ago in Wheeler County with an inch in diameter hail. And again, we'll go back down there and you can see the hail core is not even there. I mean, right in here. Watch as I drag backwards. There it was, right there. So you can see why the warning got issued. But that hail core, when it was there, but again, quickly collapsed. So we'll see if it gets back up and running. Again, this was the hail south of Alamo just a few minutes ago, and then as it went forward, it collapsed out. So we're not seeing any hail that I can tell, and there could be some gusty winds in there. So technically, yes, a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15. We'll see if they hold on to that. And any of these other storms that are kind of ganging up in our eastern counties, starting to put down some more lightning. So we'll keep an eye on that one in Washington County right there. That one actually has more lightning, and the hail is starting to blossom out a little bit more there than this one. This one does not look as impressive. Everywhere else is kind of drying out. We're not seeing a whole lot else going on for the good chunk of our area. It's mainly these storms here in our eastern counties. So if you're anywhere from eastern parts of Lawrence County, Wheeler, Trutlin, into Johnson County, and possibly even Washington, if that storm continues to kind of blossom out the way it's doing, we may end up seeing a warning for that one. Again, this is in an afternoon that does find us in a low-end level 1 for severe weather. You can see the green everywhere. Does not mean that it's a guarantee we're going to see a lot of severe weather. I mean, 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings like we're seeing now, and I think that's about it. So, and again, the vast chunk of our area is not seeing anything. Go back to the big picture here, and you can see what I'm talking about. Let's take the clouds off there. So that way you can kind of see the loop and get an idea of where these other showers are. And I say showers because we're not seeing much in the way of lightning in some of these others. So as far as it technically being a thunderstorm, most of these are not. They've just been rain showers and occasional rumble. And not only that, but most of them have already made their way up and out of the area to the north. So it's really just these scraping our eastern counties here as we go on through the next couple to few hours. And we'll see where these things end up. You know, do they just kind of ride northward, or do they kind of get a little bit of a punch to the east and eventually get out of here that way? We'll have to see. All right. I'm looking at some other stuff here. That warning's still in play. All right, let's check the hail again. And once again, I don't see any hail where the severe thunderstorm warning is. There was some briefly when the warning was issued, but don't see anything now. But again, we do see some small, maybe pea-sized hail here heading toward Riddleville in Washington County. So you can see I go backwards, and this is going forward. You can see it moving north if that holds together. And then down here, again with the one that was in Wheeler County, you can see no hail now, but if we go back just a few minutes, really, over the past 10, 15 minutes, you can see where there was maybe upwards of an inch in diameter hail there south of Alamo, and then as we go forward, just totally gone. So that's what these severe thunderstorm warnings will be issued for today. If we see any more, it's going to be off of hail and maybe some gusty winds in there. You can see another warning that's not in our area north of Athens, but just kind of give you an idea of this kind of afternoon where hit or miss, one or two of them may have a little bit of a punch briefly, and you may not even see the full expiration time of these severe thunderstorm warnings, because from what I can tell, it doesn't look like it has the same kick that it did a little earlier, but we'll see what the Weather Service wants to do with it. Again, the one that is actually kind of gaining a little more steam would be the one in Washington County, coming out of Johnson County. But no warning for that right now. There is a special weather statement for Johnson into Washington County with that cell I was just talking about, which just means that this one is not severe, but it is showing up on the Weather Service's radar, no pun intended, is one they're keeping an eye on in case the hail gets a little bit bigger or the wind starts to pick up a little bit more. So that one's not severe. And again, this is the part of this severe thunderstorm warning. It's still in Wheeler County, but again, the storm does not look to have the same punch that it did just a little while ago. So we'll see if that stays in play, that warning. But so far I haven't seen anything saying that they're going to cancel that. Let me check back in over here. Yeah, it looks like the wind gusts were earlier in that Wheeler County storm, maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. So the warning was mainly issued because of the hail that I could tell, but that hail core is not there anymore. Okay, no indication that they're going to let that one go just yet, so that one's still in for another 30 minutes. All right, just to show you while we wait and see what is going to go on with that, how things are looking for tonight. Let's take a look at future view, and it kind of picks up on what's going on here with, mainly empty here in the core of our area, but some storms here in our eastern counties. Yeah, so it's kind of on target. This is 7, 8 o'clock, still kind of lining up here and then eventually sometime maybe 9, 10 o'clock, either riding north or starting to get a little bit of a push toward the east out of our area. So that may end up being how this goes. And then it really kind of looks quiet the rest of the night. I mean, we still may see a shower or two as we go overnight in a couple of spots toward tomorrow morning, not a big deal. Tomorrow afternoon, hit or miss, but definitely a smaller chance, but there still could be a little shower or rumbler in a couple of spots into tomorrow afternoon. And then there's late tomorrow night around midnight. We'll see if anything's still out there, a couple of little blips. And maybe a blip or two clipping by as we go into Wednesday afternoon for mainly our northeastern counties is what I'm thinking. But it really starting to kind of change, the script is, as we go through the middle of the week to the end of the week, from a rain situation to more sunshine, and then heat will be taken over. And you can see what I'm talking about. There's Thursday looking quiet. It does not look like a 0 rain chance so far this weekend, but I did put a 10% chance on there. There's Friday looking good. Well, let's go forward into Saturday. We could see something kind of hanging around, really only the Euro picking up on it. It looks like it's going to be a nice weekend, but can't rule out something as we go through both days, and we'll see how the model's treated as we get a little bit closer. All right, back up top to the situation at hand. And that is that severe thunderstorm warning, again, technically goes until 7:15. The storm, at least the last check that I just saw, does not look to have the same kick to it that it did a little earlier. Now, the one probably that is a little more eye-catching is this one that's in Washington County. Definitely some heavy rain in there and some small hail around Riddleville. I'm going to do another check on that, and more lightning in this one. Again, that polygon stretches all the way up through Trutland into southern Johnson County, but it's still this part right here that's been coming through Alamo. It's been kind of feathering out. Let's check on the hail. No hail down there. So this, in the severe thunderstorm warning, the hail, again, was there a little earlier, but now gone. And just a little bit of small, maybe pea-sized hail going to go east of Tennille and Sandersville, more toward Davisboro. So I'm going to go backward and go back forward. Back, forward. And so you can see it's probably going to kind of thread the needle. I mean, you'll get rain in all these spots and lightning and all that, but as far as any small hail, it's probably going to be mainly running between Sandersville and Davisboro. The rest of our area is mainly quiet. But we could see a shower or two in a couple of spots still as we go through tonight, although the models have been trying to kind of clear it out later. I showed you the graph model. Let's see what the high-res model thinks about tonight. There's 7, 8 o'clock. It does try to clear things out. Still the potential for maybe a shower or two. We'll see if there's a thunderstorm still in there as we go late tonight. Then we get into tomorrow afternoon. This is 2 or 3 in the afternoon, maybe 1 or 2 things firing into tomorrow night. Again, not as active. And there's that Wednesday I was saying maybe clipping by our northern counties. But again, the trend is mainly to start drying it out as we head toward Wednesday and really cranking the heat up. Some models have us at 92, 93 heading into this weekend. I put us at 91. I just, didn't want to slap a 93 on there just yet. We'll see where we actually end up. Okay, so the only severe thunderstorm warning we have is the one you see with the yellow polygon, which is mainly for Wheeler into Trutland. But the storm, and I'll even show you on this, I did it with the hail, but watch as we go backward here. Right through there, you can see even on the reflectivity, some purple in there. This is when the storm had the bigger hail core and had probably a little bigger punch with wind. As we go forward, you can see it kind of spreading out and feathering out. So from what I can tell, there may still be some gusty winds in there, but the hail does not look to be all that present. Let's go up here and look at this one in Washington County. Again, there is a special weather statement. Back in the old day, they'd call them significant weather advisory. It just means, hey, keep an eye on this. It's not strong enough to be severe, but just wanted to mention it. That's basically what those are. As we go into Trutland, you're getting some light rain in the southwest corner. of Trutland, maybe a few sprinkles in Soperton, but again, the main show, what's left of it, would be this part here. Back around the horn with the hail. Still no hail down in Wheeler, so that storm does not have the kick it did. You can see that little bit of small pea-sized hail threading the needle between Sandersville and Davisboro, crossing 24, or eventually crossing 540. So as this goes north, again, not an impressive hail corridor at all. One of the reasons why we're not seeing a severe thunderstorm warning with this. All right, so the warning's still there for 25 more minutes on a storm that, again, as far as I can tell, does not have the kick that it did when it was issued. The hail core is gone. They did have like an inch in diameter hail for just a few minutes when they issued that warning, but not so much now. Actually, not any hail that I can see. But if you're in the Soperton area, I mean, the rain coming in on the south side, and you may hear a rumble or two coming in from Wheeler County. But again, unless the thing flares back up, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of in the way of hail. And so far, I don't see it flaring back up. Well, I do see that they've at least done a trim on the western part of that. They've taken Lawrence County out, which oddly enough was never listed in the warning, even though the polygon was stretched through there. So you can see as it was glowing there. So they've carved out this part of Lawrence County, so it is just for this part. And I guess they're seeing something. I don't see any hail. And there may be some gusty winds. Again, this one in Washington County, kind of spreading out a little bit here. Could be some gusty winds with that one. And again, some small hail noted at times in this part right there between Sandersville and Davisboro. But again, no warning for that one. All right. We can take a look, however, at the let's do Dublin Skycam only. And then I'm going to swing that sucker around and see what we can find. Well, you can definitely see the ominous clouds off in the distance. That is that storm that is going from Alamo up towards Soperton there. So technically that is listed as a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, not seeing hail in it anymore. And not too certain about the wind speed there, at least from what I can tell. Not overly gusty. Big picture time, you can see a lot of breaks in the clouds that did allow us to get into some of those low 80s out there today. And then, of course, with some of these thunderstorms firing up, some of the cloud tops have fanned out and added a little more cloud cover, but still in the spots where we're not seeing storms, some heat out there and just kind of boiling the atmosphere a little bit. There's some instability out there enough to get a couple of these storms up and running. All right, we take away the clouds And we come back down to this one. If I had to guess, I would say it's this little part right here is the reason this warning continues, and it's barely still in the polygon. Let's go back to our hail map. And we go to where that storm is, and there is no hail. We go up, and again, barely showing up. I guess it's a little more than it was, but between Sandersville and Davisboro, some pea-sized hail there. This storm is not severe, but an eye catcher. I'm sure you're hearing the thunder out there as it's coming through. A little bit of hail right there in the Johnson County area, about to head into southern Washington County there. But with our actual severe thunderstorm warning, well, there's one little spot that has showed back up. County Road 68, about to cross Cat Squirrel Road. A little bit of small hail, perhaps, for 2 or 3 yards. So again, that warning technically for 20 more minutes. But it does not look to have the punch that it once did. And the models may be right that this gets a kick to the east in a little bit, because you can see an outflow right there. And that little bit of wind is probably going to take whatever's standing up here and move it on off toward the east eventually. All right, we'll walk over and see if there's anything in the chat room of note. And so far, no. There is no talk about canceling it. Sometimes they'll put something in the chat about, hey, we're going to... Okay, it looks like they did just cancel it. Severe thunderstorm warning, Trutland, yep, okay. So that's the Trutland part. So what they've kept is the Wheeler County part. Yes, Cat Squirrel Road. So Wheeler and Montgomery are the only ones left in it, and it's about to leave Wheeler and mainly become in Montgomery. So we're not going to continue with this all the way to 7:15, as this storm is just in a few minutes about to cross over into Montgomery County, leaving Wheeler, crossing the river here. So that is going to do it for our counties there, as this is leaving Wheeler. Again, that goes until 7:15. Let me do a hail check again. And it is a challenge to find that one little batch of hail that is still approaching Cat Squirrel Road and Dead River Road. Who named this neighborhood? Double O. Interesting. Okay, so heading more toward Mount Vernon there. As we go on up, just again to show you, Johnson County with a little bit of hail there, crossing over into Washington County in a little bit. And then this hail core between Sandersville and Davisboro actually has blossomed up a little bit to maybe close to a ½ inch in diameter here, crossing over 540 in a little bit. And then moving north, up to Downs. But no warning for that one. Okay, if we get another warning for our area, I will jump back on here and update you. Until then, it's really just standard thunderstorms for right now, because this one over here is leaving Wheeler County, heading more into Montgomery. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see if we have to talk again later on tonight. I'll keep an eye on it for you.